Happy Champions League Day, wherever you are in the world. Literally, we are 3 a.m., we are 2 p.m., we are 1 p.m., we're 11 a.m., but it is Champions League Day, and we've got a It is Champions League Day, but first and foremost, George and Kev, we will come to you, our stalwarts and legends. But I think given that it's 3 a.m. Stateside, we give the floor to the one and only Anders Perez. Anders, tell us where you are in the world.
I am in my house. I live in Concord, California, out here in the Bay Area, what we call the East Bay, right?
Yeah.
But I am obviously working and launching a team in Redwood City, California, which is right outside Palo Alto, in the heart of Silicon Valley, Bay Area, San Francisco.
And I've got to say, I've got to give a massive shout to Paul Jerry, Paul, who introduced us. Paul,
Yes.
who I've attended many games with, a Sunderland fan. Paul was involved. He literally saw your team and the project. He said, "Look, Hollywood Balls loves doing stuff like this." Anders, that's why you're on the show. So big thanks to Paul. Just give us a little bit of background. Give us a bit of background. You say that Redwood City is soccer crazy, right? But they don't have a team.
Correct. So, I mean, here in the United States, guys, it's a bit different than in Europe, and we're trying to change that, right? Where in order to have your own team, you need to have a lot of money to be able to even think about it. And things are changing a little bit here stateside with the creation of this new league a few years ago called NISA, National Independent Soccer Association, which is meant to be a disruptor in the market, a different model than what we have here in the United States with MLS and USL, which are what they call closed entity. So
Right.
with NISA, it's obviously there's some minimum standards that the federation that you have to meet. But NISA makes that a lot easier actually, to be able to enter and play professional football, at a third division level to start. So for us, it's you have a lot of these towns, and they're not towns, they're cities really, but there's only one professional team in our area, in the peninsula, which is the San Jose Earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's two with us, right?
Yeah. And your vision, though, Anders, is to be able to produce talent for the future, but both in the male game and female. You're looking for the next Megan Rapinoe. You're looking for next Landon Donovan, to quote you in your last press release. But it's more of a community drive, this, isn't it? It's huge for you.
Correct. Yeah. Again, it's the fact that we have so little professional teams means that the number of professional players that we can actually turn, right, is a lot less than in other countries. So we're trying to reverse that, and absolutely, I think the talent that we have in the Bay Area, Northern California, is immense. And I don't know. I know in Europe, some people say, the smart people are saying, no, that's exactly where the talent, the next player, is going to come out of. Yeah. Most people maybe don't know yet. And I go to Europe often, at least before COVID I was. But the money is in the United States. It's such a big country. And in Northern California, it has so much talent and so much youth football that is going on right now.
Anders, do you get much assistance? I mean, San Francisco, that local area is the richest in the world, pretty much per capita almost, right?
Absolutely.
Palo Alto has probably the most expensive real estate in the whole world.
Atherton.
Littered with rich tech companies, right? Yeah. I mean, that's my world, right? So do you get sponsorship from those guys, from big tech?
It's early right now. It's early. We have one sponsor that we're going to unveil already in the next week or so.
Great.
But it's early right now. But absolutely, I think that I'm not going to be boastful, but that's what we're looking for. That's what we have already started conversations with. I mean, we're 1 month, 2 months into our life. But absolutely, I think that companies, the tech companies out here are looking to invest and sponsor and be a part of something like what we're doing with the community, right? Because the football team, we're not going to play, in Major League Soccer right off the bat, but we're going to use the football team to inspire the youth in the community, build a bridge between communities in different sectors and demographics. And that's exactly what you see a lot of these tech companies are putting their money towards.
Well, if you're looking for assistance, maybe Pete would be good enough to put us in touch after this
Absolutely.
show. I'll introduce you to a very good friend of mine in Palo Alto, very well connected.
Excellent.
And I'm sure you're looking for more sponsors. And we could talk a bit about our stuff, the Football App as well, because that could help you also.
There you go. Absolutely.
We spoke to Anders this morning, just when I had to give him his first early morning alarm call. Explained about the app, and all the guys that are in. Nelson's here, Faith, Michael, Mercedes, Bassa Boy, everyone. So it's great to see the family. Kev, I'm going to come to you because it is a huge day of football. It is Champions League, and I've got something. Even my dad said, who you know very well. We talked about it, and I'm going to say it straight off the bat because my dad nearly fell off his chair when I said it. I'm taking Chelsea. I literally, I don't know why. And Terry said, no, it's got to be City, but it's a huge day for both clubs. What a game, though.
Yeah, what a game. And listen, Pete, I don't think you could pick the wrong team here because both teams have got quality. Both teams are superb. And it's just a pick 'em. If you're going Chelsea, I'm going City. That's for sure.
That's a shock.
Because if you're going Chelsea, I'm going City. Look, littered with quality all over the pitch.
Yeah.
And it seems like Chelsea have had the sign over Man City in the last couple of games. But I think in that last game at the Etihad, there was a couple of dubious decisions that went against City, and then Chelsea come back. So I just think, look, all the marbles in the middle of the table. I just think Pep has to get it done, and I think City probably have more firepower than Chelsea, and I think that could prove to be the difference on them.
George and I discussed this on the show last night, and George made a brilliant point. I mean, you look at one of the best midfielders in the world is Kevin De Bruyne, and City will be well up for it. But there is the feeling, Kevin, I will say it, in the UAE, that City, they need to win it. They really need to win it. I think that the City group, as they are named, they expect that. The Champions League is the only thing so far that's eluded them. So it's a huge game for both clubs, but massive for City.
Well, again, Pete, it's so evenly matched because when you get the owners who put in money like Abramovich and the City group, Sheikh Mansour's been absolutely fantastic. Changed Manchester City's fortunes. Abramovich has changed Chelsea's fortunes. Both of these guys have put fortunes into these clubs, and one's going to have to miss out. So it's a difficult one. Obviously, Sheikh Mansour, that they've coveted the Champions League, haven't they, for a number of years? Haven't got over the line yet, and now's the time. That's what they're going to say. Now is the time for them to do.
Yeah, it's a massive game. You could argue there's maybe a little bit more pressure on City than Chelsea. But that being said, if there's anybody that can handle a little bit more pressure at this point, it's City. Nothing would surprise me. I mean, I'm going to make a choice here because I have to, but it could go it could go either way. I just fancy City to pip it only because two factors: they have a better keeper, and they are better. They are more free flowing at scoring goals than Chelsea. So I'm going to give the edge. I'm going to give the edge to Man City.
It'll make the predictions interesting a bit later on. First and foremost, I've got to say, speaking of predictions, Kev, you weren't fortunate enough to be on the winning side last week. It actually went to Troy Lambert.
Wow.
Who took 5 points. Kev was again there, or always thereabouts. Speaking of Troy, just to let you guys know, Mooney and Lambert, they've got a book of Spurs legends, which I know George is coveting. It's on its way, George. Don't worry. But if you want to, please log on to mooneyLambert.com. Have a look. My eyes have seen the glory. It's about that famous time, 61, right, George?
Yep. 61, 61 and 62 season highlights of that's the last time Spurs won the league, right?
There you go.
Before the Premier League. Jesus.
As a Spurs fan, you must tell everyone it's a must-have book, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, no doubt. I can't wait. Yeah, all my friends and family. I'll be shocked if they weren't buying it.
Great. Listen, Anders, I've got to ask you, we're talking about European football and Champions League. You had an academy connection, Juventus, so it's something that you're very versed with, the European game, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, and again, I've been to Europe many times now because of my connection with Juventus. We've been in Torino. We were just there right before COVID hit, taking the youth side. Again, I think that Juventus, Barcelona, Manchester City, they're all making pushes into the American market. Obviously, there's a marketing component to it, but there's also a talent development component to it. We have two Americans playing in the Champions League tomorrow or tonight, I guess, or today.
Yep.
Pulisic and Zach Steffen, right? I hope that Pulisic starts. Pulisic is from, of all places, Hershey, Pennsylvania, where they make the chocolate, I believe, right? Not a hotbed of talent in the United States, but yet there you go, right? So I think it's wise that the European teams are looking here in the United States for talent, for cheap young talent as well. And by the way, guys, I don't know if you know the way things work out here. You can literally come and sign any youth player here, and there is no training compensation or solidarity payments that you need to make, as opposed to in other countries, right, where there's already the players attached to a professional academy. So it's literally free talent in a sense to all these European clubs. And for the American player, they're looking for a higher level of development and training that you only get in Europe. I have a cousin right now that you put there, Pete, the game versus Tenerife versus Real Oviedo. I have a cousin playing for Ibiza that just got promoted to second division. Right, he's on the Salvadorian national team, but again, here from California. So little by little, we're sending more and more players out. And again, that's where we tie in, not just with Juventus, but now even with Bay Cities. We have an eye to the European side, and we have our connections already thinking, look, we'll get 17, 16, 18-year-olds. We will play them in a Division III level. We'll put them in against 30-year-old men in a stadium of 5,000, and we'll prove to you that perhaps they are now ready for that next jump to go to Europe.
Wow, it's very exciting. Very exciting. It's a bit like a gold rush, right? I mean, it's a huge opportunity.
Absolutely. And on the women's side, I mean, come on, we are the powerhouse on the women's side. We have the strongest women's program in the world, and yet 10 professional teams. So we're doing it all through the youth sector. We're doing it all through the university programs and the university game, which is not ideal for professional athletes. So imagine now that we have more opportunities,
Kevin, your brilliant career. Did you play in the US or have any preseason or friendly games where you went and played against these guys?
Not necessarily against the US teams. I think when we first went was in 1990. We went out to play Independiente in Miami. And we played at the Dolphin Stadium, and it was amazing because you go over to America and you think nobody knows who you are, and you get out there and the stadiums are full and there's gooners about, and you think what's going on? Because obviously there was no social media back then and all that kind of thing. But listen, one thing we do know, it is a hotbed. A lot of the thing, and I'm sure Anders will tell you this, because of how the American sports are set up, a lot of the youngsters do play soccer, as it was football to us, until a certain age. But obviously, it wasn't the go-to sport. So then the talent tends to go to NFL, basketball, or any of the other sports because that's where the big contracts and the money is. Now football is starting to be proven. we've seen quite a few American players come to England and in Europe, etc. I played with Joe Maxmore and some guys like that, at Everton. But you're starting to see more younger players coming to Europe now. Pulisic is a great standard bearer for the American team, and there's different. Serginho Dest, who was in America, who's now at Barcelona. So there's others. They're starting to infiltrate because they're going at it younger now. And Anders makes a great point. If you could pick them up younger and you could get them in your program in Europe and start developing them, then America's going to have a real strong squad.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Fascinating.
Well said.
George, I'm going to come to you because literally we're talking about massive games, but there's another massive game, isn't there, involving a club from London and a club from Wales. How huge is that today for both sides?
This game for me is the highlight of my season, to be honest. I mean, unless it involves Spurs, that is. But to me, this is just a bigger game as a Champions League. But that's the way some of us are. It's the richest game of all, right? Because whoever wins gets promotion, and they get a lot of money and a great opportunity to stay in the best league in the world, the Premier League. Brentford, Swansea, great game. Pressures on Brentford.
Big time.
They missed out last year. They should not have. I love Swansea. They play good football. I think Potter's a very good manager. But I'm going to go Brentford. It's a great game. I can't wait. I'll be very honest. I'm just as excited about that game as the Champions League final. Strange, huh? Just as excited.
I just said, Kev, I'll ask you. I mean, the playoff, it's a lottery, isn't it? It's a one-off game.
Hang on, did I say Potter? I meant Cooper.
Cooper, Mr.
Sorry.
Cooper, yeah. No, it's okay. Kev, the playoff has thrown up so many literally legendary games, hasn't it? It's just that it's a fight, 90 minutes, big prize. Who's going to make it? I'm going to come back to you because you do make a really good point, and you've told it to me last season as well. Brentford, they're in a really lucky place because they literally have blown it. They've blown it before. And Kev, you were on Hollywood Balls, and you said they've blown it. They've blown it. Will they take this chance this weekend?
I think they've got to take this chance. This chance is one in a lifetime for them now. And you know what? The club are geared. They've got the new stadium. They moved into the new stadium, obviously under COVID. Their plan and their work ethic and their mindset is to develop players. And they've done a fantastic job and always just failed. But now they're in the big game. They're at the dance. So dance. They've got to get it won. Wembley's is West London. They're a West London club. Everything points to them. Swansea have to travel all the way from Wales, all the way up. You think to yourself, Brentford should do it. But we've seen teams like Swansea go there and really perform.
And a good football inside as well.
Yeah, good football inside. It comes down to who wants it more on the day sometimes. Forget everything else. If you want it more than the opposition, 9 times out of 10, you come out with the victory. So, I fancy Brentford, but it wouldn't surprise me, Pete, if Swansea take it. It wouldn't.
Yeah. Cooper is a very good manager, very understated, very underrated. I was impressed the way he switched it up when he played Barnsley. He changed the normal style of football, and it was very effective. It was generally relatively easy. So, it could go either way.
And don't forget, George. Don't forget, he was the England under-17 coach when they won the under-17 World Cup. Foden, Sancho, and all those boys. So he's a nice guy as well.
Yeah, I've never had the chance or the wonderful opportunity to meet him, but he's a very good manager, Cooper. Very good manager.
Anders, you're getting a lot of message and love from our TFC family. Literally, I think I'm going to be getting CVs. I think people asking if they can come over and trial for the team. I mean, honestly, we look at the website, and when Paul sent it to me, it literally is. I love the fact that you say that it's just not NFL. It is grassroots. It's soccer. Anyone can get involved. It's female. It's young people. Could other people from around the world come over and trial for the team?
Absolutely. You know, you don't know how many resumes and CVs I've gotten and YouTube clips since we announced the team. And it's funny because we're not looking to play an official match until next year, right? 2022, that when we debut in the league. So even if I bring you over, I go, where am I going to keep you for the next 7-8 months? Right? And this summer, we're doing a summer tour, right? A tour of games. And then we have a regional tournament that we're going to do with amateur clubs and ourselves, right, in our area. But absolutely, I think that I will say, you know, for everyone listening, again, it's if we do bring in talent, because our objective is to export talent, but if we bring in talent, it needs to be, again, younger age, or maybe someone like Kevin, who is a veteran and can give us some leadership. But looking for some younger talent. And there is a way, obviously, with the league and the visa and all that, but absolutely, we'll definitely look to bring in players.
George, we go back to a young man that we had on our show, TFA Fridays, just a couple of weeks back, who literally sent his video, didn't he? His resume from YouTube, and got a career. He got a career in Sweden, and he's playing there. So who knows? Maybe, George, we've got another entity. We could start setting up a team. Okay, maybe not.
That'd be
quick
great.
Question, quick question, Kev. I've just been reading this morning, interestingly, about a young manager. We're talking about young talent and coaches. Someone that I really did fancy at Newcastle. Eddie Howe is not going to Celtic. It was a very sort of a terse statement this morning saying that Celtic will not be pursuing that. I thought he looked great for Celtic, a great fit, a young, good coach, which would get Celtic back on track. They've obviously got other ideas.
Well, this to me seems as though the goalpost got moved at the last minute, because it looked like it was nailed on. Eddie Howe was going to go there. But, you know, sometimes people put caveats in contracts or whatever, and Eddie Howe's probably going there. Let's be honest, he's been a manager in the Premier League. He's got a very good resume. He's young, he's smart. And when you start moving the goalposts, probably he weren't going to have it. So they've just decided to, you know, part ways, and they're going to have to, Celtic going to have to go and try and get somebody else in. I'm sure they will have somebody else as a second choice. But, you know, as a manager, as a second choice, when you know Eddie Howe was the first, sometimes that's a little bit
tough. Yeah. What was the cause of the change of heart? Was it backroom staff related?
Apparently, yes, it was something to do with backroom staff, or how many, or who he wanted. It was that seemed to be the new. Not officially, but yes, it has come out as it was a backroom issue, which has happened time and time again in our game. I just thought, Kev, that for Celtic, who I've got a lot of Celtic friends as well, what an absolute nightmare for them, because they literally have had such a poor season watching Rangers win everything. You possibly think that you're looking at Eddie Howe coming in, he could change the club around, and now it's back to square one.
Yeah, look, it's a difficult one, because obviously Rangers have been incredible this season. They stopped the 10 in a row. They're looking very strong. Now Celtic have to respond. Celtic have to respond they have to respond with somebody who knows what they're doing, who could get the team playing, because obviously Scott Brown's not there. Edouard's probably going to go. There's going to be some changes. So they need somebody who can be really hands-on and get the boys going. But obviously it's not going to be Eddie Howe now. So I'm not sure who's going to take over. But, you know, it's going to be, if they don't start well, it's going to be a very difficult place to be, I tell you. Start out how they do.
I mean, I'm actually saddened they're not appointing Eddie Howe, because it's not just missing out on Eddie Howe. It's also, as to Kevin's point, it's going to take longer now. That means the chances of them of getting a great start has been reduced on the back of a season whereby Rangers didn't lose a game. So Celtic is in an interesting situation now. I think the pressure's on. I think their fan base, which is an incredible fan base globally, and in Scotland, obviously, is very concerned. I bet Rod Stewart is concerned big time too, right?
Yeah.
Even here, George, I mean, in the UAE, Celtic have the biggest supporters club. But bar no one. Literally, there's about, I think it's 1,500 in Dubai alone. So a massive club.
Huge, massive, huge following in Japan as well, for example. I mean, it's a great club, and I hope they just get their manager going quickly. They've got to get it sorted.
I'm going to come to you in a second, George, and ask you about Pochettino. I know we've talked about that this week. Anders, I want to ask you a little bit about Juventus. Changes there as well. In your opinion, as someone who knows the academy, but also the club, what's going to happen at Juventus for the better?
Man, well, whatever happens with them has an effect on us, right? So the first team, obviously, even if we're very low on the bottom of the ladder, but what can I say? I hope that the project improves. I hope that is Max Allegri. I'm not a fan of recycling managers. Personally, who am I to say anything, right? I think that in my wishful thinking, I was hoping that Pep would eventually make his way over to Serie A and Italian football and bring his brand of football to that country. Everywhere Pep goes, it seems like the football in the country elevates, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Juventus was probably thinking, they went from Sarri to Pirlo. They're looking for a more attractive brand of football. Allegri is a winner. He's sometimes pragmatic, and sometimes winning is better than playing beautiful, right? Especially with a club like Juventus, that we have to win, and we barely made Champions League this year. So I'm hoping that Max brings back some of that winning football. We're hoping that Ronaldo stays. Obviously, I'm hoping to bring in some. I don't know. So for me, some exciting players as well. Not that the squad isn't exciting, but I'd like to see some attacking football. Some Del Piero types, right? And what's it called? And I want to see them win the Champions League. I think that they had some unlucky times when they made the two Champions League finals against Real Madrid and Barcelona. I mean, you're playing against two of the top teams in the world, right? At that point. We didn't get anybody else, so we got those two, and we lost, I believe, twice. So, I hope that it improves. I think it's going to improve. I think that's what they're bringing him back for.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Anders. Many Juve fans were very surprised that Allegri was fired or let go. Right? Do you share that too? That perspective?
I wasn't surprised. I think that the prize is Champions League. Yeah, obviously winning the Scudetto 9 years in a row, you get kind of bored of winning the domestic title. And now that we lost it, we didn't win it, and Inter won it. Now it's, we need to take care of we need to take care of the domestic league first, right? So that's always important. But again, it's the style of football. Everybody now wants to play that style of football that Pep does. It seems like Tuchel, Guardiola, these are the managers that are bringing that style of football. Bielsa would be an amazing person to bring in, but obviously with a project like Juventus, it's very risky. So bringing back someone that who knows how to win the domestic league, and then it's just about building the squad around them. I've said this in private, and I don't think I'm going to get in trouble, but your midfield, you need to fix your midfield. You need to bring in a little bit more creative players in the midfield.
Creativity,
creativity, a little bit more dynamism in the front. Okay, with some a little bit more speed. I know they brought in Kulusevski. Bernardeschi hasn't worked out. Kulusevski started well, then fizzled. So I'm happy that our American player McKennie is there. But he's too young right now to be the anchor for a Champions League winning team. Look at the two teams that are in the final, and look at the talent that's across the board, and look what Chelsea's done with Havertz and Warner and Pulisic even, right? So again, you got some very good talent and the Italian talent as well in the country that is coming up again. And I think the Italian national team is doing well. So maybe a Zaniolo this summer, if we could do a signing like that. But we're going to need some players for sure.
Juve's obviously hit a vibe because it's gone crazy on the messages. Juventus is such a big club. They play in black and white like my team, Newcastle. I think they're slightly better. We'll move it on. We'll move it on swiftly. We want to take our Hollywood Baller of the Week, and I'm going to start with you, George. Hero of the Week for you. Who have you got for us?
Gareth Bale.
Yep.
First I got for a Spurs player. I don't know how many people realise it. Gareth Bale has actually scored 11 goals in the Premiership with only 20 appearances. Aubameyang, 29 appearances, 10 goals. Mane, 35 appearances, 11 goals, the same as Bale. He scored 2 very good goals, turned the game around against Leicester. Yeah, Gareth Bale gets it for me, absolutely.
Can't disagree with that. Super Kev, who's your Baller of the Week?
My Baller of the Week, I've got to go for an old stager who we're no longer going to see in the Premier League, in Aguero. Came against, which obviously was difficult to take, but he's been such a blessing to the Premier League. What a great striker. And we know he's leaving. So for him to come on and do what he done, score a couple of goals, and just really a farewell, isn't it, to the Premier League.
Absolutely.
What a great sign-off, great player. And, can only wish him well. He's my Baller of the Week.
Great. Anders, have you got a hero for us for Hollywood Ballers?
Yeah, I'm going to change mine. I originally was going to say Pep, but now you know what? Christian Pulisic. What is he, 22 right now, 23? I think hopefully he starts tonight. I think he's a lot of people in the country are going to be watching him and cheering him on tonight. So Christian is an amazing player, and I think he's the best is yet to come, obviously. So he's our Messi right now. So that's what I'm going for.
Lots of people texting as well. Nasiro says Edison Cavani for him. This Michael Mercedes agrees with you. Perfect choice, George. Gareth Bale, unbelievable performances. So Baller of the Week taken care of. All that's left is predictions time, Kev. Sorry, I know it's your favourite time of the week.
Hey, listen, Anders, if you start winning, listen, every new guy that comes on here wins. So if you start winning, there's going to be problems.
But Kevin is so correct. All our guests just do great, don't they?
We give them one win, George. We give them one, don't we?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I have to say, and I have to be fair to Kev, that I've picked games this weekend that maybe led themselves a little bit to our guests' knowledge, trying to be friendly on Hollywood Balls, as we always are. But we've got some serious predictions. I'm going to go with George first. Let's get the big one out of the way. Chelsea against Manchester City.
I think Manchester City will win 2-1.
Okay, 2-1.
Could go either way, but I got to go for something. 2-1 to City.
2-1 to City. Anders, what have you got for us on that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Man,
Chelsea. I know it.
Can you feel the pressure, Anders? Can you feel it?
Yeah, Tuchel knows how to play Guardiola. So I'm gonna say 3-2 Chelsea.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'll be in with that.
Great scoreline.
Okay, Super Kev.
I'm the same as George. I've gone 2-1 City.
Yep.
I'm just
Pete,
going to get
Pete,
over
Pete, as it's the Champions League final, what do you think? What are you predicting, Pete?
I feel my heart says, look, I just want to see a great game, but I really,
over, Pete.
No, I really feel that Chelsea will win, and I think they'll win 2-0.
Right.
Wow.
I literally, it's. Kev will be WhatsApping me later when it doesn't happen, but no,
without a doubt, I will.
I really fancy it. Okay, back to London. George, Brentford, the Bees against Swansea from Wales. What happens in the playoff final?
This is going to be a great game for me. Just as exciting as Champions League. maybe
7-6 to Brentford.
A little bit more. I think both teams don't concede that many. I'm going to go 2-1 to Brentford.
Okay, 2-1 to Brentford. Anders, we're going to put you on the spot for a playoff from London, Wembley.
By the way, how lucky are you guys that you get something like that? You have us. And it's funny, I was doing some research as you put it on the email. 170 million pounds on the line, right?
Yeah.
For 90 minutes.
I will never get that opportunity here. So even if we win our third division league, we're not going to get 170 million or a second division league, That's amazing, by the way, guys. Amazing. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 Swansea.
Okay. Ooh. It's such a tough one to call. And these games they're literally, Kev, we know from Graham the Jinx and all these times that Sunderland have had to play in these playoffs as well. It's literally a lottery, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's going to be a difficult game, whichever way you look at it. I just think it's Brentford's time. I really do. After the pain of last season, altering all the way, and they couldn't get across the line. I think they're going to get across the line this time. And again, I'm right with George. 2-1 Brentford, I think. Okay.
George, back to you. We've got great New York. I love this because we're going completely left field. New York Red Bulls versus Orlando City.
Orlando's doing very well this season. They're on a run. I think that run continues. New York Red Bull is not great. I'm going to go 2-1 Orlando, away win.
Okay. And there's something more comfortable for you. What's your take on it?
I don't know if it's more comfortable, man. I typically watch the West Coast teams more than the East Coast teams, right? With the time difference. Like George said, they're doing a little bit better this season right now. I'd say 2-0 Orlando.
Okay, cool. And Kev?
Pete, I've gone for 3-1 to Orlando.
Okay, 3-1 to Orlando. Back up to you, George. We've got another intriguing game, though. Columbus Crew, Toronto.
Toronto is sucking wind, if I could be very direct. They're struggling. I mean, their confidence is down the toilet. I can't see them getting anything from this game. Columbus Crew, it's either 2 or 3-0. 3-0 Columbus Crew.
Okay, just before I get to Anders, I've got to say, Cliff Ray? They said it's going to be Chelsea 2, Manchester City 15. There's his comment there. Or her comment, sorry. Fantastic.
Is that just at half time?
Yeah, that's the prediction. Sorry, Anders. Back to you.
I would say, the Crew 2-0 again.
Okay. And then a very intriguing game, one that Anders picked up on in our test before we came on live, and he said, "Did you
ask Kevin for
no,
Kevin? Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Kevin, I love you, man. Kev, I love you, man. You know that.
I was looking at the comments. How could I do that? Kev, sorry, go on.
2-0 Columbus Crew, Pete.
Yeah.
And first minute goal. Give me the minutes. I'll give you bonus points because I feel obliged that I have to help you out now. I missed you out.
7 minutes. First goal.
Okay, if that goes in, I will give you 10 Hollywood Balls.
Oh boy.
Points.
Oh boy.
There you go. My apologies. Okay, last game I've got is Tenerife against Real Oviedo.
Who goes first? George? Me?
You go, George, yeah.
Oviedo to win 1-0.
Oviedo to win 1-0. Anders?
Tenerife 2-1.
Tenerife 2-1. And Kev?
I've got Tenerife 2-0.
2-0. Okay, fantastic. We've got them. Anders, if you win next week, don't WhatsApp me and certainly don't let Kevin know. He'll go off it. He won't be happy. What else have we got left for you? We've got one code left, which is this one to go with your other two. Guys, you've been texting all afternoon about the code. I do what I can. I put them out when we put them out. If you're not online to watch the show, there you go. And the last, also, honestly, it's just going nuts. The Spurs, Mooney and
You're a
Lambert.com.
popular man. Yeah,
I am a popular man. Yeah, I am. It's for my football knowledge, George, not my codes. Mooney and Lambert.com. Great. Get that Spurs book. George can't wait to open his. Just literally got to thank Anders so much because I know what time it is over there. Anders, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. We'll just ask you, will you come back on and be with us?
Absolutely. I will just I gotta get to bed a little earlier, but no worries. I will definitely be there. And no, thank you again for having me on. Again, we are honestly in the grand scheme of football right now. We're just this right now, and like I was mentioning to you, I'm hoping to catch the attention and the eye of individuals in Europe, even in the Middle East, right? You're starting a football team in one of the largest markets in the United States. You're in the heart of Silicon Valley with a lot of individuals in a lot of different spaces. So if anyone's interested in reaching out and being more involved in the project, both on the football side and the finance side, let me know, because again, we have a pretty strong ownership group right now, but I think the sky's the limit for us. And again, it's the way we're doing things. It's the way I think that things should be done. How you start a football team, both men.
Where can the guys go and have a look? Because the website's fantastic, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
It's really cool.
Yeah, website, social media, at BayCitiesFC.com, at BayCitiesFC on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all major social media platforms. And then our email addresses are up there on the website as well. I mean, anyone can reach out to us across the world. If you want to represent San Francisco, the Bay Area, and you want to represent football, and you want to be a part of the next generation of American and other talent. And guys, just before we hang, we say American talent, but man, America's a melting pot, right? We got all different backgrounds and races. So I'm Hispanic. I'm from Central America. I want to see some of my own Central American, South American players moving over to Europe as well and becoming success stories. So that's my passion. And again, on the women's side, as much, if not more. So, and by the way, Kevin, do you know a Jason Brown? I believe goalkeeper for Blackburn Rovers. Ring a bell? Does he cross paths?
The name rings a bell. Yeah, the name rings a bell, Jason Brown.
So Jason is out here coaching in the Bay Area, moved here before COVID hit, and now is our women's coach. He coached his first game yesterday. Yeah, he's our manager, put it that way, Bay Cities FC women's manager. And man, a delight to have on the team, on the project. Fantastic individual, so knowledgeable in the game, and it's a huge coup for us. So
that's great.
Give him my regards and the guys' regards, and wish him well, please.
We'll do. Absolutely. We'll do.
Do well with the project, because it sounds a really, really good project.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
Appreciate it.
It's absolutely fantastic. Last messages are going to Michael Mercedes. Joins us every show. Brentford has to do it this time. Agree. Itopa Abdullah says Brentford will go through 1-0. Umaili says Brentford also. Baba says Brentford win. And then the last message, Idris Bright, Man City 4, Chelsea 2. So There you go. Yeah, everyone has their opinion. Have a great weekend of sport. Thanks again for joining the show. If you would like and subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. And we'll see you all again next week.